listening to the Dank Swamp Rebellion post-Ida coverage.
Picking up dead bodies all the time.
Your dad, does he do that, though?
Not my dad really does. Yes, he picks up dead bodies.
He's a cadaver runner.
Yeah, he helps with the mourning people. Not the wake up in the morning, the people who are like all
The
sad
sad
and shit.
people.
Yeah, he does like all that stuff. What do you call that?
Morning people.
You're just the morning
So
guy.
he's the guy at the funeral home.
The morning churro area.
Yeah, not that guy, but the guy that just comes like consoles you, like, "Hey, babe, sorry."
Yeah, like he helps set up the ceremony, but he's also the body trawler. So he goes out, he goes out and picks them up too. That's a cool fucking job.
The cadaver
It sounds
runner.
like it.
Yeah.
It sounds
I would
like
play
it.
that. I
The
think I
body
played that.
trawler? Wait.
It's a new thing.
I was listening and I was comprehending everything.
Yeah,
Until
you
she
know,
said,
like if a body falls off of a shrimp boat and then they have to go and like dredge up the body. Yeah.
The body trawler.
No, so he does runs. He does cadaver runs, or body runs. So basically, when
So he's the guy,
when
like-
Mama or Papa passes away,
He goes
and picks
pick him up.
Yeah.
Wow. He's like the Uber for the dead.
So he's like at the highest risk for catching COVID, and he's still never
People
caught it.
bitch about
Dudes,
taxi cabs.
There's another $1 million idea.
Boom.
Yeah. People
Yeah.
bitch about taxis, but
I bet you his passengers
4 people get
never
in
bitch about anything.
strangers will get in an Uber and they don't even
Well,
know the
anything with the
driver.
dead is a good
It's a good
business.
business.
'Cause
Think about if
they're
you
always
could do
dying.
an Uber thing like that with the dead, though. Like you get 2 in one hearse, it's like half off.
That's not right.
I can't think of a
I
good
can't-
pun. I'm trying.
I was just
can't-
imagining 2 people, but they were like sitting up in the back seat, just dead. Does
Oh,
dad
see,
have,
if you
like,
got
a
one of
sick-
those eco vans, those Ford Econolines with all those
Prius?
seats. Yeah, like the Vietnamese church vans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can put a lot of bodies in
Like
there.
the Amazon vans. The
Yeah,
Amazon
exactly.
delivery vans.
Yeah, to have the little chutes.
And
You
you
put
I'm
don't
the-
sure Amazon has an industry like that already too. They're gonna start
Absolutely.
picking up your bodies.
You don't have to worry about how compact it is either.
It's, the drone just comes pick up your freaking cadavered body.
How did we get here so quickly?
I don't know. It took off quick, man, but
Special things.
Okay.
we should probably say hi.
It's a beautiful moment.
It is. It's a beautiful day.
It is.
It is.
We have moved locations. We have moved time and space around to form what is DSR Studios, now located in the Bayou.
And actually, on
Literally
Bayou.
on the
Ex-
Bayou
yeah.
at the Cutoff Net Shop.
Yeah. Thank you to
in-
Troy Landry at the Cutoff Net Shop for giving our studio a home during a very rough time during Hurricane Ida. So thank you to that guy. He is an amazing cat. If you ever need a net, a trawl net, a bait net, any kind of net, go see Troy Landry.
Handmade.
Handmade.
I gotta talk to him after. I want a net. I need a net.
Hey man, that guy.
I don't know why, but I need one.
He's probably one of the only ones around that's still doing it by hand like
Your
that.
third-degree ancestor will still use that net. That's how
Right?
good they are.
Yeah.
I just want to catch. I just want to catch random shit with it. Like I believe there's some good nets.
Like
and I
kids
want
in-
to test
in
drive. I want to
Ashland
test drive
South.
it. Yeah,
Trying
hell
to
yeah.
steal your
The
lawnmower?
crackheads, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a net for everything.
screw getting security
There is.
cameras.
And if I've learned anything from this, it's that you can't keep a small fried cooking long enough.
Took a little while to get that out.
I'm rusty, bud.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
just
let's-
shooting the donut at the wall.
Let's just state the obvious here. It's been 5 months since we've tracked anything.
Yeah.
Some longer, some shorter. And we've gone through so fucking much in this amount of
We
time.
have.
Yeah, for real.
So
Not just as a show, but as a people.
as the fucking Bayou community, and just it's amazing to me to see how we are able to still have a passion and love to make this happen. It's fucking phenomenal. The fact that a mile away, this huge fortified home was destroyed in our little DSR studio shed is literally I had to sweep.
You would have never have known anything had happened that a hurricane even came through. We got very, very lucky.
Absolutely.
Right.
We really did.
It was crazy just passing through some of the neighborhoods. Like my mom's neighborhood was one of the most severe, right there in LaRose, not far from RJR. Big shout out! They're about to open back up.
Yes, they are.
Hell yeah.
But some of the houses in our neighborhood, the entire like I guess the west side of the house. The whole brick wall had fallen in, crushed everything, and it's unbelievable.
I think that's one of the saddest things in the Bayou region is how many places that were there that we just took for granted that they were there. Mom and pops, along with major retail suppliers, restaurants, small businesses that will not be reopening, and so many people have left the Bayou.
It's really crazy.
I feel like most of the country and even our surrounding areas here don't really understand how bad it was for South Lafourche and South Terrebonne. Those two parishes were hit the hardest, but the media showed that there was all this destruction in Orleans Parish and Jefferson Parish.
That chat.
That's the ones that are always going to be that catch where if you say this in the media, they'll send more money because they care a little more about these places.
That's right.
Well, and that's because that's the only place where the United States the rest of the United States can associate with.
Louisiana,
Nobody knows.
New Orleans and Baton Rouge.
Correct. Yeah,
and
that's what they know.
Lafayette. Who gives a shit? But that's exactly it. And I do want to go on record and apologize by leaving such a huge cliffhanger that I thought Cody was dead. I did talk to him several hours after that show came out.
Let's recap out on that real quick. So this was the craziest thing. So of course, Tyler left. I stayed. I was in the middle of selling my house.
This is fucking wild how this all happened.
And moving into the school bus. So I was working on the bus, almost done. House was being sold. Hurricane Ida hits. So the eye came through Thibodaux, and we already knew it was bad because I lost contact with my mom and my grandparents, who was a little bit further south. And then we have a group text with all the DSR crew, Rattlesnake Dre, Kyle Crosby, Blake Tauzin, and that's how we keep in touch. And people that were south of Anacostal still, we lost contact with them. And it just so happened that a lot of people from out of state started calling me when the eye was getting close to Thibodaux. And one of my best friends, Colt Wiles, who lives in Osage Beach, Missouri, he called me and I said, dude, I've never seen anything like this. And me and my wife were outside under the carport, and it was a wall of wind and rain, and the dogwood tree across the street from us, the bark stripped off of it, and then it ripped out of the ground. And when I said that, my phone went dead, and I lost him, and it was done. Power was gone, and so...
He thought you were dead, too.
Everybody thought.
Everybody thought everyone was dead.
Last words, I've never seen anything like dead silence.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this is a...
It hurts so fucking bad.
So, in one way, I was in awe of the pure force of nature that I witnessed, and it was during the day. You know, it was still daylight. Right. It was August, so it was
supposed to be hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Middle of the day,
and we watched the eye go through, and so many houses around me were demolished. Like, my neighbor was a cop, and look, you can say what you want about political sides and all this crap. That man sat out in his unit all night and watched our neighborhood for looters and people that were trying to steal generators, because people were doing these things, trying to steal. People were desperate. Okay, so Joe stayed out there all night long in his patrol car watching our neighborhood. So early the next morning after the storm, my wife and I went out in his yard, who was demolished. his whole fence came up, his shed was demolished. The trees just uproot out the ground and take everything around it with it. So we started cleaning up his mess because our yard and our house was untouched. I had a few little shingles gone. It was almost like it went around us, and the bus was untouched. And that's what we were afraid of, is that what's going to happen to the bus in this? We just put all this time and this money into it, this effort, and it was stood strong. Well, at that point, I realized that the damage was so bad that we didn't know when we were going to hear from each other again. Okay, so I had no idea where, I knew Tyler had left. I had no idea what was up with him at that point. He couldn't get in touch with anybody here. So luckily, my wife's company needed to keep rolling. So that Monday morning, they commissioned me to go and get fuel as far west as I could go, because I told him, I said, look, I think the further west we go, we couldn't find fuel. People did not prepare correctly because we live in a digital world. So a lot of people only had debit cards and Zelle and crap like that. Guess what happens?
Don't work.
Yeah, you cannot buy gas with your phone and swipe the pump when there's infrastructure was gone.
And if you an ugly motherfucker, you ain't getting shit if you ain't got cash.
That's right.
I hear that.
So I took all the cash I had and I said, look, the further west we go, I have a feeling that we're going to get less resistance. It may take some time, but I feel like I can go fill up a lot of gas cans. And that's what I did. I took a trailer, filled it with empty gas cans, and I went twice a day all the way to New Iberia. So my first trip out there is when I was finally able to get in touch with Tyler. And that's the first person I called, and he's like, dude, you're alive. And I was like, yes, I'm alive. It's going to be a long haul. Like, it's horrible.
I remember before all that, we were communicating on that walkie-talkie app thing.
Yeah,
You remember
for
that?
5 seconds.
For 5 freaking seconds.
like,
and it was a
dude,
bunch
this
of
is
stupid
cool.
shit.
Like, over one niner, how are you?
Right.
And then I was like, eating Elmer's CheeWees, watching the eye come through, over. And we were like, we were hamming it up because that's how we are in South Louisiana. Everybody was having their little hurricane parties.
Right.
But it was definitely scary. I can honestly say at that point I was scared, but also in absolute amazement, and it gave me immediately a newfound respect for what the force of the of what our surrounding environment is, because it is brutal and it's violent and it does not like us. Doesn't care.
No, it's unforgiving. It does not.
It does not care.
Any situation you're in.
So, needless to say, I came out unscathed, which is awesome. So 21 days later, we get back power. We go through a lot of gas. Had a generator blow up like crazy, blew a hole through the side. That was the least of my issues. I moved into the school bus. I still sold my house. It was an awesome situation.
The timing of that whole thing
was perfect.
It was amazing to just see it from third person. Like, I know you were dealing with so much shit that you probably didn't get to really see it.
I didn't enjoy it,
you know what I mean?
And it took me months.
For me, I was like, he's literally selling his house the week before item passes.
Yeah.
And the bus is completed the week before that.
Right.
So y'all are all moved into the bus.
And the last thing we had to move was
and the bus
studio.
has wheels.
Right.
To move.
Yep.
And you live in it.
And we just picked up and went.
And you still live in it.
And it's awesome.
And it's fucking awesome.
And it's awesome.
Solidifies that everything really does happen for a reason.
So on the flip side of that, on the east side of Houma, Tyler's house from the roof down decided to weep on itself.
Yeah, man.
It cried and cried and cried. And his shed looks like a cheese grater because the tree on the top kept bowing and bowing until it just punched a bunch of little holes through the top of the tent of his shed like a cheese grater.
Yeah.
So Tyler, tell him about it was devastating, man. Like, we're gonna get to a little bit of everybody's damage and what happened, but it was heartbreaking because I understand it's not just a dwelling, it's not just sticks and stones, right? It's memories. Yeah. It's you're building something, a life with
my fucking
your
house.
family. It's your house.
That's my home, man.
Yeah.
And I'm still a relatively new homeowner. I've only had the house for a
couple of years now, right?
A few years.
Yeah.
And I'm not a handy man when it comes to knowing how to fix shit. And I've always been open to learning it, and this was the experience to fucking learn it. So, I never really got into it, but I was always open to it, and I liked working with my hands before. But, dude, it's so hard to say, dude, we were in Houston for maybe 4 days. We came back 2 days after the storm passed because I was ready to help do what I need to do to my shit and just try and get on with my life because this was fucking shit to go through. And I know the sooner you tackle it, the better. So I finally pull up to my house, and it's a gut-wrenching feeling because, dude, you going down your street and one house is completely leveled. Like, it's fucked.
Yeah.
There's no house left.
Or it's not even there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just have, like you said, like that gut-wrenching feeling where you're approaching your house and you just haven't seen it.
It's
yeah.
I can't put this shit into words when I say, like, how I guess the human condition just really comes together and just musters what it has to get it done. And you think about it afterwards and say, how the fuck did I get through that? You know, like some traumatic shit. And as this whole thing's going, I don't know what happened to my parents' house. I don't know what happened to my friend's house. I don't know what happened to my family shit. I don't know fuck all other than I'm about to roll up to my house and find out what's going on. And as I pull up, my roof is gone. Like, it's just it's gone. And it like it's just cried into my house. So like my floors were all fucked, my walls were all fucked, you know, like literally I was able to save some stuff. Some stuff got really screwed up. And I mean, the show has definitely painted the picture that I'm a collectibles nerd and I couldn't bring it all fucking with me. So I was able to bring the super important shit, but I had a lot of stuff that I lost. And there was a period of time where, like, dude, it was not cool to talk to me. Like, I was in a very fucked up mood. And as soon as I kind of realized that I was giving that energy off in this kind of situation, course correct. You know what I mean? You have your period of time where you have to let whatever comes out, and then you adjust and calibrate, and you fucking move on. So I call Cody and I tell him what's going on, and he's fixing up his stuff. I'm like starting to get my shit rolling, and dude, like you pull up to my house and it's like two colanders that's like holding up my driveway, and one's just like straight up the other way.
So it's like a 2x2 brick column, and the wind blew so hard that it bent one of them over. Like, it literally had one lodged, you know, catacorner to where it moved. And I was like, how did this even happen?
It almost broke Cody's leg because we fixed it with a fucking car jack.
A car jack,
Oh, no.
a couple 2x4s, and some cinder blocks, dude. We went full redneck on this.
That's
all
the
right?
same way we got the scooter up in Big Red. Remember when we did that?
We did.
Yeah, that's
We'll tell that story
the
later.
Same method.
Same method.
I'm gonna post those pictures when this comes up because I have those. But yeah, man, like I was able to start renovating, and I got super lucky because I started my insurance claim before the storm even happened because I knew it was gonna be fucked. And I pushed that shit along through because luckily I worked for a place that taught me how to do that correctly. And I was able to get my insurance shit straightened up really early compared to everyone else. So then I realized I could do a lot of these repairs myself. And I only contracted people for my roof and my electricity and shit. Everything else I'm doing my own. And I'm grateful for that, man. Because, like, I feel like the storm fucked up so much shit. And people just got completely wasted off this thing. But they didn't die.
Right.
And that tells me a lot.
You lose everything, but you didn't lose your soul.
That's right.
And also, getting back to what you were saying about, you know, not being a handyman, but we talk a lot about how on the bayou, you always know someone that knows how to do something, right?
Yeah.
So here we are. All of his soffit is just ripped off of the house.
I can't even say the word correctly. Like my electrical and my, what was it? My prosciutto and esophagus.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. I just, that's the shit that's on the top.
Right.
On the side.
The fascia.
I know that.
The
Yeah.
fascia.
The fascia.
The fascia.
Yeah.
It's all aluminum. So we're like, I said, man, I hate to tell you, but like to match it perfect, like we would have to probably rent a bending machine.
Yeah.
And we could cut it all and bend it. It's not a problem. Troy's like, hold on. His mom's boyfriend runs out the door. He walks back in 5 minutes later. I'll have it back tomorrow. Go get me some measurements. Dude, he knew a guy that was going to stay out at a machine shop.
I was still open.
For a case of beer after hours and bend all of that soffit for us. And then the next morning, I went back and we just had to hang it. No charge. Then It's just because they knew it was just something that needed to get done.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? The government may never come through for us. They may never
didn't.
do it. They didn't do it.
They
But I'm
didn't.
just saying, they may never. As much as they preach it, they may never. But you know what? We still have each other.
We will come through. Yeah.
And you know, there's that point that comes where it's like, man, I wish I could do more for people. I wish I could help people more and move on and go to other people. You have to get your stuff done first, okay, before you can help anybody, because some people are worse off than others. Why Tyler shows up at his house that's crying on itself. They didn't even realize that his mom had 3-foot freaking C's in her living room.
Yeah.
You know?
And I went days without knowing that. You know?
Yeah.
And like that's one of
Having no clue.
one of the worst spots that happened was where me and you grew up. You know, dude, the intercoastal flooded to where that whole neighborhood back there is still fucked. Full of mud. It's all condemned shit now. And all that water came up, which tracked in all that sludge, and that sludge just fucking glued to the ground.
It was a couple feet of mud, huh?
Yeah, it's so fucked.
So what was
it was on
like,
the news.
Like 6 foot of water?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really.
There's still, even now, so many places that we'll go get some video and put it up on our Facebook or something
Y'all
to
need
show
to
you
see
guys.
the shit down here.
It's still horrible.
Yeah,
There's still piles of trash everywhere.
Yeah, you still can't get down to Grand Isle. When I had to go out for jobs, we had to like cancel the appointment because they just got Wi-Fi. Electricity last week. They still do not have
Your
Wi-Fi.
media centers are not gonna keep covering
Yeah.
the same thing. I mean, we got post Ida coverage for a couple weeks because it was hot.
On the wrong parishes, though.
Now it's not. It's not hot no more, but I'll
No.
tell you right fucking now, it's still hot for a lot of these people
You
down
go
here.
down Terrio, you go down south of Fouche and Golden Meadow, where they used to have a house, and then it looks like a bulldozer came through because there's
Yeah.
nothing there, and
Yeah.
people are living in tents. They have
Yeah.
children, they have adults, they have
Still running
multiple
generators.
families living in one FEMA trailer that's living in one. You know that people just forget, and and unfortunately, even in our area, there are people that in outlying areas they forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
y'all
just
have
adapt.
issues down there. Like, yeah, we're having issues because there are, in South Lafourche, there's no more Walgreens. That was one of the only places to be able to, they pushed out all of the mom and pop places that were drugstores, and now all of a sudden, because it was destroyed and a tornado hit it that spawned out of the eye, there's no more Walgreens. So all these elderly people that are in South Lafourche are having to go all the way to Thibodaux or Houma or in Raceland to be able to get their meds. And that's just another form of it. It's like, well, we just don't need to rebuild there.
And that
What
gas,
do you mean?
Right.
that gas they used to use for the generator has to go in the car, so maybe you don't get the heater tonight.
Right.
That's
Right.
the life.
That's right.
That's
right.
Some people are living right
Do
now.
I go get my blood pressure medicine, or do I get my diabetes medication, or and use the gas, or do I run my heater tonight so that my kids don't freeze to death?
Or what job can I go to?
Right. What job is there?
The whole fact of the matter is we are so fucking fortunate for what we went through
Yep.
and came out the way we did. And the fact that we took 5 months to get rolling again is not because we needed a fucking break.
No.
We were not getting a break.
No.
That's just,
it was not a break.
But we do feel like it's super important for
And
everyone.
it also, I feel like it has changed us all too.
It did,
because
dude.
it's
No
something
doubt.
that nobody's ever experienced. It's changed people either for the better or the good.
Or
You've
both.
You've
Some
either
people
become
change
more.
both.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that are super cynical about it, like pissing in the face of God type thing. And there's other people that, for me, a lot's changed. A lot of just prioritizing when it comes to the show, when it comes to my home life. I witnessed something amazing, and I lived through it, which I shouldn't have because we're not supposed to be
The
here.
odds were not in your favor.
We're not
homie.
supposed to be here.
It's unreal that no one actually died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah,
had,
no.
I think they had 17 people that stayed on Grand Isle because I had to go to Grand Isle, and I passed through state troopers that needed to see my ID card to start getting like different products down to that island. And there was half. It was like 50 or I think it was 47% of the camps and homes were completely destroyed. But what people don't realize is some of those that were still standing, they're they were fucked.
I mean, they're standing enough to call them standing, but that's it.
But they tore them down since. So now I don't even think 40% of the camps are still on Grand Isle. Jeez. And there's still, the levee's still broken. I drove through water this week going down there. And if another hurricane comes, it doesn't even have to be a 2 or a 3.
Yeah, it'll wipe it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is, like you said, it's changed some people for the good and some people for the bad. And I can testify and say that it makes you think completely differently.
And speaking of, after we got Tyler back in his situation, we went down to see Dre's house, and he needed some help getting some cabinets down. And his relic room, tell the story about that Bible.
So my house wasn't structurally damaged that much. I had a telephone pole fall and it crushed the corner of it, which was 3 or 4 sheets of plywood, a couple 2x12s. But all the shingles, all the paper was ripped off of my house, so it literally rained in my house for 4 days before I can get back. So all the sheetrock had to come down, some plywood, some insulation. It wasn't a total loss, but I had to start from the very bare bones of my house. Yeah. But the craziest thing was my relic room was saved. Every other room in the house, it's like it would have been open to the elements, just pouring down, raining in it. For some reason, the relic room was saved, and there was a Bible sitting in the middle of the relic room that...
Do you remember leaving that like that?
No. Honestly, I don't know how it got right there.
Because you packed all that shit up.
Well, I packed a bunch of it up, but some of it had to stay. I mean, I took off and went to Mississippi because recently we found out that me and my wife are going to have a baby.
Congratulations on air, by the way.
Thank you. I don't even...
Yeah.
I think it was so early the last time we had a show, I didn't want to say anything, just just in case something happened, but there will be a very...
I remember you came into the studio with this stupid look on your face, and you're like, I don't know, and you had the pregnancy test in your hand, and you're
I
like,
had it in my mouth.
Yeah, and you said, I don't know if this is a pregnancy test or a COVID test.
Yeah.
It says positive, though.
Either way, you're positive, bro.
Give me a kiss.
But that was... We found out we were pregnant a month before the storm hit, and then we evacuated because I had a bad feeling when the storm was coming in. So we shot out to Mississippi, but basically my whole home had to be gutted, and the relic room survived, and I think the Bible just took the brunt of, because it was completely covered in mold, maybe an inch thick of green, white, and black mold, and that was the only thing in the room that was kind of like...
That's crazy. Like it seeped all into the pages of the Bible.
The Bible sucked up the mold, dude.
Yeah, but wow. I took it, cleaned it up, and I packaged it away. So
I don't know who made the kitchen cabinetry in Andre's house.
Dude, yeah.
But you go buy like sectional pieces of cabinetry now. No, this was all one piece.
The whole
This was
kitchen.
we manhandled the kitchen, and then his wife fed us, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
I think they carved the entire bottom section of the cabinets out of
a
solid tree.
Yeah,
it was
one huge old live oak.
A 400-year-old tree that they just carved that out of.
That was incredible, man.
I was able to save the top cabinets.
The bottom had to come out, huh?
Thanks to you guys coming give me a hand. And I had relatives and friends that helped me out, and I would not be where I'm at today, but I actually was putting the last bit of molding before I showed up here.
I was painting this morning. I got up at 6 and I'm still painting some shit.
But like you said, when you said that the storm changes people, it does, because we stayed in it was a building, I mean, about the same size as this little studio we have here. It was 12 by 16, and I've lived in there the last 5 months with now a massive pregnant wife because she's about to pop, and it makes you appreciate
space.
Simple things, because I'm gonna be honest, and it's gonna be kind of blunt, but my wife still pisses in a bucket in the corner of that room, and I have to go dump it every afternoon.
That's some real shit, yeah.
So sometimes with my boss, I'll be at work, and I've worked every day since the storm, like immediately after making phone calls and starting to bring deliveries within 72 hours of the storm passing. And sometimes I get some shit for not doing something right, and I let them know, like, dude, I'm not making excuses. I'm telling you, this is where I'm focusing my energy. This is what I can give you, and I think you should just be satisfied, because I don't want to go any further into why.
Yeah, because it was a long time after the storm before you could actually take that when we went to your house, that was that week you could actually take off
Right.
vacation time.
That was the only
because it was the demand was so high.
Right.
Right. And my one of my bigger bosses said, I know your homes are messed up, but you have to understand, when I send a pallet of water to a store or a cake, because there's some people that love Coca-Cola like they don't drink anything else. We're all drinking it right now. So that's the only comfort they're going to have that afternoon. You know,
That's right.
He said, think about it more than...
And that's kind of the perspective you put shit on too, because like you're thinking almost selfishly, like, why does this matter right now?
Why do
got
I have to go
other
to work?
Shit. But I just didn't cross my mind that like Coca-Cola is someone's comfort that they could get through the day with their life of shit right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense. Like that applies to literally everything that you don't think about.
Couldn't buy gas. You
Right.
couldn't buy bread. You
'Cause
couldn't buy
these-
anything.
No.
But
some of
you
these
could
people-
find some fire weed, son. And the prices were high.
DSR was rolling deep.
But you have to think about it, because some of these, I mean, they had some very young people I know I work with at some of these gas stations that their home was completely gone. I have something to go back to. They have nothing, an
And
empty lot.
Right, and I think that is a key point too, because like there's a lot of points in time where if you feeling some type of way, like, dude, there was points where I was talking to Cody that like I was not normal and I had to get something off my chest type stuff, or like if I'm talking to my girlfriend and they know that I know better than that and I'm just kind of being hysterical about shit. And you have to allow for that time to calibrate. It just seems like not many people either get out of that or talking to someone that they shouldn't be in that sense. It's got to be with someone you trust like that, because, dude, there's shit that comes out that may not necessarily be how you feel. It's just what it is in the moment. And I can't stress that enough, that like if you feel like that, you do need to find that person you trust, but you also need to know it's not like this forever. This is just how it is, and what defines a person is how you deal with tragedy, not whenever you're the happiest. That's nice, but the worst off you are and how you deal with that defines you as a person. I've said that before, but I live it now. You know, like I feel like there's points where I could step back and say, is this real? You know, like, is this really what I feel like, kind of thing? And it's really amazing to see how the resilience is coming, and the fact that you could go to the gas station and you see this person just not well off and you offer them a tank of gas.
Yeah.
It changed that person forever, possibly.
Or just everybody feeding everybody. I mean, you know.
Potluck down the street type situations. Yep. You know, I gave my window unit to my elderly neighbor.
Yeah, and she hates you.
Yeah. And I went put it in her house and shit, you know, and she, you know, we got power back, but, you know, we had power, but that's it. There wasn't any extra.
Even now, I mean, where I stay, I don't have internet down there.
Yeah,
we still don't have Wi-Fi.
You still don't have fucking Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So,
sorry. You still have darn tootin' Wi-Fi.
So Simone had a skylight added to her bedroom.
Straight up convertible top.
How'd that come out, Simone?
I mean, I can't say the damage was too bad, considering we live in a 20-year-old double wide trailer. But I guess the experience I got from all of this was just that. I was shocked that our piece of crap tin can of a freaking home was still standing, because we stayed for the storm. Actually, we were one of those people who didn't take it very seriously in the beginning. We were actually considering staying for the whole thing because, you know, we didn't want to live with the mother-in-law. She was just not easy to deal with. So, you know, we had stayed for Zeta whenever Zeta had passed, and it was like a Cat 3 at the time, and, you know, we were fine. So we were like, you know, this isn't going to be that big a deal. It's probably just going to die as soon as it gets to the coast, and we'll be fine. Well, you know, I usually follow my gut on things, and I had just gotten like this bad feeling, and I was like, all right, you know, yeah, I told my boyfriend, I was like, we gotta go. We need to go somewhere else. Like, we can't stay here. And we went and go stay, you know, at his mom's house, and you know, we rode the storm out, and it was bad, you know. And I mean, like, long story short, after the storm passed and everything, the very next day, you know, I was like, I gotta go see her home. You know, we gotta get out there. And I did, you know, I took Big Red, and I remember, like, we had to, you know, bob and weave around all these down power lines. And I mean, like getting from, you know, like getting to Grand Caillou. So if you were like coming from the Dularge Bridge and all that, and you were taking that way in front of the hospital. Yeah. All of that, it was like an obstacle course.
And it was crazy because it wasn't like here or there. Like when you went down 308,
it was so bad.
Because I had to go check on my mom down in Lockport. It wasn't like a power pole. Like, we've had hurricanes where like sections of every power pole was snapped.
Like dominoes.
Every single one was splintered. It's not like one in a million. It was all of them.
Yeah, there was actually one. A guy was traveling up Grand Caillou. He was heading in the same direction of me, and the power line fell on his truck. It was like slightly hanging, and it finally collapsed. And he didn't smash him, thank God. But you know, it was bad. And you know, thinking like, shit, that could have been me.
It's the type of shit that's like just burnt into your brain now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, that it's like you were saying. You know, you really appreciate life when you see this. But you know, anyway, I know that gut wrenching feeling that you were referring to because I had that same like knot in my stomach, and you know. One of our friends was staying with us too during the hurricane because he couldn't stay in his house, and I'm gonna get to that story in just a bit. But you know, he was riding with me for support, and my mom and my little brother were following me, like behind me. You know, I mean, thank God I had them with me because the way I was feeling, like I just did not know if I could have handled our home being gone.
Yeah.
You know, because when we got into Ashland South. It was, I didn't even recognize it. Damn near like everybody's home was gone. Like 90% of the trailers that were on our street, they're not there anymore. And, you know, they were debris pushed to the side of the road just waiting to get picked up. But I remember, because we could not get our vehicles down our street because of all the down power lines, so I had to walk on foot. And you could just see all of the neighbors walking up the street. And they're just people like crying and like I'm trying not to get emotional.
Thank you for listening to the Dank Swamp Rebellion. Tune in next week for part 2 post-Ida coverage.